Welcome to a Sunday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com. All right, back at the homestead. So woke up early this morning, 5 a.m., caught an early flight out of Atlanta, and already back home. So excited about that, having my morning coffee here at the house. So appreciate y'all for hanging with us here. Tigers, tough day, man. Tough day there in ATL. There we go. My apologies. Tough day for the Tigers in ATL. They lose 50-30. You better believe LSU is going to keep some receipts. Kirby Smart deciding to go for two, with 48 points up 4 scores in the ballgame in the second half to put 50 on the scoreboard. Watching Monk and the OC pump his fist and get up out of his chair. I get it, man. It's not Kirby's job or Georgia's job to be respectful. It's LSU's job to stop it, but you better damn well believe you go running trick plays and 2 points conversion just so you can put 50 on the board. And then oh, by the way, if Joe Burrow wanted to, could have hung 50 on you in the 2019 game. And then post-game locker room, Georgia's doing get the gat, smoking cigars. Okay. Receipts, brother. I get it. You the big dog right now. I get it. Careful. All right. So did a little bit of an abbreviated whiskey and wine last night solo from the hotel room. So talked a lot about the game. We'll get into that. We'll say some good mornings here for everybody who's watching live, or maybe we'll watch this later. I got to see so many of you in Atlanta, and just very, very grateful, man. Everybody who came up and said hello, who watches the show, Morning Scone or whatever, or AF, whatever it is, AFR, LSU Daily, all the stuff we do. Just so grateful, man. You know, I know I say it often, but without y'all, I'm just a dude in a room talking to himself. So I'm very, very grateful for everybody who's so complimentary and kind, and a lot of people who ask to take pictures and stuff, which is, I mean, it's so cool. So thank you to everybody who was there, who said hello. All right, let's say some good mornings here. Pizzolata GL, Mick Still, good morning. Dre Marceau, good morning. Let's see, last night you talked about Brian Polian staying. How could he help LSU if not special teams coordinator? Yeah, so that's a good question, Dre. Maybe in some type of administrative role. Like I want to be clear. And for what Dre's referring to is, obviously last night, look, against Georgia, you got a team that good. You got to play darn near perfect. And you can't, I mean, you know, you get a 3 and out, you drive the length of the field, you got first and goal from the 4, and you lose yardage on a couple of plays, you have an incomplete pass, and man, you line up for a field goal, and you get it blocked, and I mean, y'all, it is beyond comprehension that in college football, at major college level, that the 11 dudes in white shirts didn't know to go touch that football to down it. Anyway. So, obviously, a lot of the question came up about Polian as it has all year. My point's been, listen, he's the first hire Brian Kelly made. He's close to Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly trusts him, wants him on staff. That's fine. He can't be your special teams coordinator next year. He can't be. That's gross negligence on Brian Kelly's part if he brings back Polian as special teams coordinator, and he will deserve to be crushed if that's the case. And I'll gladly do that. Y'all know I don't care. But could he remain on staff in an off-field role? Perhaps, I don't know. But you've you've got to fix special teams. That was just atrocious. Mick still, let's say, great season, win the bowl game. Yeah, so as far as the bowl game, so Hunter Eilers, who we most likely going to the Citrus Bowl. Yes. So I can tell you this, and this is going to sound pretty obvious, but the Citrus Bowl, I think, would prefer South Carolina for obvious reasons, right? I mean, back-to-back top 10 wins to finish the season. They weren't even expected to be in a bowl game, and they would be fired up to go to the Citrus Bowl. And so if you're the Citrus Bowl, of course, you would sell a lot more tickets to South Carolina fans. I don't think the SEC will allow the Citrus to pass. And granted, they could do what they want, but then they don't have to have an SEC tie, and there are ways that you can sort of flex. So, yes, I expect that today, when bowl announcements come out, we will hear LSU in the Citrus Bowl against Purdue. That's what I think we're going to hear. It was down to LSU, South Carolina from the SEC, Purdue, Illinois from the Big Ten. I think what we're going to see is LSU, Purdue in the Citrus Bowl. Joseph Fallsgraf, good morning. Be kind. Perry Hidalgo, good morning. Devin Johnson, what's going on? John Gabriel, good morning. Aaron Hornsby. Jeremy Causey, morning, Matt. Would you mind elaborating on how teams tried to steal our 2 freshman tackles? Was it tampering with money and our staff found out? So I also mentioned that's the shady part of it. That's, I know, difficult for a lot of, who was that? That was Jeremy. Jeremy, you got to understand, man, like, in the context of NIL, there really aren't rules. Only that schools can't properly use NIL as recruiting inducements. But, man, what's to stop a business owner who supports a certain school from going to like, there's nothing to say that, there's nothing to say that if you're a business owner in Baton Rouge, that you couldn't go hire a student athlete at Auburn to endorse your brand. Now, what does that mean? You contractually, or, I mean, you kind of get it, right? So, I understand the question, but legally it can't be like a coach, an administrator doing, no, but that's the part when people talk about NIL, it gets uncomfortable, that everyone acknowledges it's happening, but doesn't know exactly how to control it. Like, that's what we're talking about. So, Zach Swan, good morning. Jesse Post, thank you for doing Whiskey and Wine Solo. You're committed to us, bro. Thank you, Jess. Appreciate you watching, man. Craig Schilling, good morning. Great to see you yesterday, man. The GOAT, appreciate you for hanging out here, man. Chance Babin, LSU projected to play Purdue in the Citrus. The Gordy Rush Bowl. Gordy started his career at Purdue after 1 year transfer to LSU. Roger Dodger, you're just a couple plays away from being in that game. Listen, here's the thing, Roger Dodger. Brian Kelly said this after the game, he's right. Georgia's better, but the gap isn't that far. But the reality is Georgia can play an imperfect game and still win. We learned that with LSU, is you can't play an imperfect game and expect to beat a good team. But yes, I mean, you could look at it like this. The block field goal was a 10-point swing. You had a very unlucky interception. There's no way around that. That's just a ball that 99 times out of 100 hits the ground, bounces off of Jack Besh's helmet and into a DB tips it up, and in a play later, 22-yard touchdown, you're down 21-7. That's just unlucky. I mean, I literally don't know that Jack or anybody could have done anything differently in that moment to make that outcome different. So they caught a break there. A lot of people have talked about the short yardage plays. I completely agree with you. And one of them was in a goal to go situation where you could have kicked a field goal and you would have brought it from 18 to 15, so it would have been a 2-score game. So there were opportunities, man. In a game where you lose by 20, you have a 10-point swing. You passed on a field goal. I mean, with that alone, you're in a one-score game in the fourth quarter. Anything can happen. So, hang on one second. Sorry, Drew's back next week. Okay, guys. My apologies. All right, but it's also fair to say, did Georgia maybe change his style of play? And I don't know. I didn't watch an all 22, and I'm not a coach, but look, I think there's a couple things you can obviously look at. LSU scored 30 on Georgia. That's the most anybody scored on Georgia, and honestly, it should have been more. We talked about the block field goal. You have the goal to go situation where you went for it on 4th and 1. You get stuffed. I mean, those are two prime opportunities to put more points on the board that you did. So that was great. You set an SEC championship game record throwing for 502 yards, which is incredible. There was good to take away from that game. They were just way better, and you played an imperfect game. So, Jeremy Wheeler, Aaron Hornsby, what's going on? Let's see, does TCU get left out? No, I think going into yesterday, we knew who the four, after USC lost, we knew who the four were going to be. It's just a matter of order, I think you're going to see Georgia, Michigan, TCU, Ohio State. So you'll have a Georgia-Ohio State semifinal, a Michigan-TCU semifinal. And Alabama will go to the Sugar Bowl, and Tennessee will go to the Orange Bowl. Let's see. Jeremy Wheeler, keep the receipts. Georgia has an awesome team. We'll be back soon. Avery Art at Wham, we're going to hang 70 on him next year. Patrick Kason, good morning. Where would Jaden go in the draft? Patrick, I don't know, man. I don't pretend to be a draft analyst. Could a team fall in love with a guy? Could he have a great workout and zoom up draft boards? I mean, there weren't many people talking about Josh Allen. He goes to the Senior Bowl, balls out, becomes a first-round pick, and he's an awesome player. He was at Wyoming. You know what I mean? The flip side of it is Mitchell Trubisky's this big, strong, physical kid. Didn't have a great resume at North Carolina. He goes 3rd overall. He's a bust. The Bears reached for him. Dak was a 4th rounder. Russ was a 3rd rounder. Jalen Hurts was a 2nd round. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know where he'd go. If he declares, I think if he works out well, he maybe ceiling would be a day 2 guy, somewhere 2nd, 3rd round ceiling this year. More likely a flyer day 3 guy. I'd love to see him come back though, man. I mean, give me an experienced guy, Kelly Gross, good morning. Jamie Tanner Boudreaux, good morning. Aaron Rodgers, Aaron. Love the fight the boys put up. The good outweighed the bad this season. Need to address secondary special teams personnel this spring. Both are fair. And look, secondary, they obviously have to because, look, you're losing Jarpin, Converse, Mekhi Gardner, Colby Richardson, Joe Fouché. I mean, they're all super seniors. You're losing all those guys. You're probably losing Jay Ward to the draft as well. So you're going to have to remake that secondary too, for sure. Truax, what's good, man? Let's see. Have you heard anything about wide receivers leaving if Jaden comes back? I heard that on the Tiger Bay broadcast. No. The only name I know that some people have asked about a lot yesterday was Jack Besh. And I kind of pried around a little and didn't get anything definitive. If I hear anything, I'll pass it along. Ray Greer missed T-Bob last night, but for good cause. Congrats. Absolutely. Led Whiskey and Wine last night with that. Congrats. For those that didn't hear, congrats to the A-Bears, T-Bob, Caitlin, baby Bobby Joseph Hebert IV was born on Friday. So baby Bob, Quad Bob, as we're affectionately referring to him, until I guess he gets a nickname. But yeah, man, mom and baby are happy and healthy, which is awesome. So congrats to all the A-Bears. Craig Schilling, Kirby said, the book says to go for 2, so you have the point differential. Okay. I know I heard what Brian Kelly said. I did not hear what Kirby said. I heard what Brian Kelly said after the game about it. And he basically said what you should say, which is, I don't know what his decision was, what he was thinking there. It's just our job to stop it. We didn't do it. That's what Brian Kelly said. That's the right thing to say. Okay, Kirby, you want to put it on point differential, what the book says? John Malassa, morning, Matt. Disappointing night. Great year one under Kelly. Do you plan on having Kelly on your show in the offseason? I'd love to, yeah. And I'm sure there will be an opportunity for that at some point in the offseason. He's been super accommodating, man. I'll tell you that. He's been very accommodating to the media, so I'm sure he'd be willing to do that at some point in the offseason. Josh Higginbotham, Damon Perkins, good morning. DT, good morning. Cody Kibido, morning, Matt. Though I wish the game would have been closer. The season went much better than anyone could have expected. Kelly needs time to restock the shelves. They're working on that now for sure, man. With this incoming recruiting class, sure they'll hit the portal as well. And I know I think we probably talked about this a little bit on mornings on Whiskey and Wine last night. I can tell you they are. There's a center who's announced, and look, and again, you can connect the dots with the programs that this staff has been associated with. There's a center entering the portal who's announced he's entering the portal that they will pursue. They will obviously pursue secondary players. I think there are 2 defensive players from Texas A&M who've entered the portal that could end up at LSU. And I've also been told they will likely pursue a game-breaking wide receiver, like a deep threat wide receiver. So, Trivia Carter, good morning. Arion Williams, they remember 2019. Keep those receipts. LSU could have run it up on them in 2019 if they wanted to. Didn't. Carter DeLon, not the biggest fan of Nuss, but he looks somewhat promising for a quarterback battle this offseason. I agree. Listen, here's my thing I've said about Nuss from the beginning. He's got all the moxie, the traits, son of a quarterback, son of a coach, all that stuff, loves LSU from Louisiana. He's got a lot of those things you want. Good arm, mobility, he has all those things. The Nussmeier's issue, this is not even arguable, is that he is careless with the football. And he threw a bad interception last night. And he did an awful lot of good last night, but because the score was what it was, I think we will probably ignore the pick. The pick was bad. He threw a bad ball into double coverage. And that's kind of been the thing that they need to purge out of him. But if they do, of course he's a promising player, man. I think I think you'd love to see that development and stay. But I think the fascinating thing for this offseason for LSU is just going to be, it's got to start with what does Jaden do? Does Jaden come back? Does he leave? And once that domino falls, then you'll find out everything else. Wendell Norman, good morning. Casey, by the way, y'all, I know I'm a little behind on comments. My apologies. We got 222 watching there on YouTube and 75 on Facebook. So shout out to everybody. If you're patient with me, I'll get to you. Let's see. Leon Williams, strange game. The run back on the field goal block, the interception. Good learning experience. Taz, good morning. On a good note, Nussmeier looked like Josh Allen. If Jaden Daniels comes back next year, do we have a quarterback battle? So to be clear, Taz, yes. I think nothing is given or assumed. You put it to you this way: did you watch so just take emotion and LSU out of it? Did you watch Clemson? I mean, DJ Uiagalelei was the incumbent, the guy that they were hoping would take the big step this year, and you had Klubnik, the highly rated guy behind him. And last night, it didn't take long for Dabo to pull the plug and make the switch, man. I mean, yeah, competition is a good thing. It's always a good thing to have competition. So I wouldn't say anything is given or assumed. Brad David, you got back quick. Yeah, so we were up at 5 a.m. Eastern, 4 a.m. Central, got to the airport, flew back. So we landed in New Orleans at 8 a.m. Central. Stephen Miller, what's good, dude? You could play the game 1,000 times. Those 2 plays wouldn't happen again. I'd agree. I mean, the interception was super fluky. I mean, the block field goal itself was, I don't think LSU's had one blocked since Florida State. If I'm wrong, someone correct me. But I don't think they've had one blocked since Florida State. But to not go down that ball is, bro. It's a live ball, man. It's a live ball for the 11 dudes wearing red. They can pick it up and run with it. Like, and the reason coaches tell their guys to get away from it is because if you go to if Georgia would have touched the ball, then it's live again for LSU. Then it's a live ball. That acts as a muff essentially. Like, but there were no LSU players around. So I mean, the Georgia players are standing there waiting. No LSU players. He picks it up and takes off. It's unbelievable. Like and similar to the play against Alabama with the tight end laying out of bounds where he touched the ball and it kills it. All an LSU player had to do was just touch the ball. Touch the ball and it's dead. Unbelievable. Brian Turner, good morning. I believe LSU needs to prioritize line of scrimmage. Well, I'll put it to you, Brian, think of this. So you're going to return your entire offensive line. I already told you they're going to pursue a center in the portal. And on defense, Mekhi Wingo was great for you this year, and you're getting Mason Smith back from injury. That's like getting a 5-star ready-made. You need to get Roy and Guillory back. If you get Roy and Guillory back, and you have Smith and Wingo, that's your 4-man interior rotation. Now you're cooking. Let's see. Steven hated the 4th and inches in the shotgun. I agree. We've talked about that a bunch. Like, guys like Drew Brees and Tom Brady have perfected it. You go under center, you quick snap. You're looking at the line of scrimmage. You see where the hole is. You fall forward. And even now, because assistance from the running back is legal, someone could push you from behind. You need a yard. Yes, I agree with you. I think everyone agrees with you. Connor O'Neill, thoughts on Kirby running up the score? Again, he can write whatever checks he wants, man. He's got to cash them. And eventually, sometimes receipts come due. Steve Spurrier did that forever in the 90s. Ran it up on everybody. Nobody could beat him. Didn't matter. And LSU got to stop it. But his day will come. Jared Guillory, Georgia's O-line dominating, reminded me a lot of 2011 LSU O-line, deep and powerful. Difference is nobody from LSU's 2011 offensive line. Nobody got drafted. Unless you count Lyle. Well, Lyle didn't get drafted. That's right. Falk, Lonergan, Hurst, Blackwell, T-Bob. Nobody in the line got drafted. Georgia guys are going to get drafted. Kerry Smith, how can every player on the team, half the Georgia players and Georgia coach in the box, not know what a blocked field goal is a live ball? I think the Georgia coach knew that it was a live ball. He was saying get away from it because, like I said, if you touch it, then it's basically a muff. Then LSU could go recover it. So that's why typically the defense gets away from it. But you still have to go down the ball. Like, you still have to go kill the ball. And LSU didn't do that, unfortunately. Reed Rule, good morning. How divided will the locker room be if Daniels and Nuss are both back next year? Don't know. I think that's probably something for fans to talk about. Probably not as big a deal in the locker room as you might assume. Jeffrey Bone. How about the John Curtis Patriots? Yeah, man, good win for Curtis on Friday. Curtis and Catholic had a pretty good series back and forth these past few years. Hunter Fournette. What's going on? Nuss Bus, plain and simple. You know what's funny? Stephen Miller, Nuss Bus. It was funny, man. When LSU beat Ole Miss and Florida and Bama, none of y'all Nuss Bus people were around, were you? Hamilton Keener, good morning. Jonathan Martin, morning Scone, headed back to the boot. Green Z, if Brian Pulling is not fired or demoted, I'm going to have some serious Cameron backs. Those exist, man. Less with Cam. Jared DiNardo back in the day with Lou Tepper. Let's see, 69 Chevelle SS396. Okay, K-State Big 12 champions. Yeah, man. You know, the surprising thing was K-State didn't get done the first time. I mean, up 18 and blew that game, but then, this go round to blow the big lead again when TCU forced overtime. I for sure thought TCU was going to win it, but congrats to K-State. Chris Domingue, Tomachita Thomas, good morning. David Tolson, what's going on? We didn't sack Bennett, so the DBs had to cover longer, but they do need to improve badly. Yes. Also, Georgia's receivers weren't the problem. Georgia's tight ends, obviously, the problem. And Georgia ran for 250 yards. I think that's the thing that probably goes unstated a little bit. Georgia utilizes their tight ends, and they did so beautifully. But Georgia, Georgia ran 44 times for 255. Stetson Bennett was 23 of 29 for 274. So, I mean, Bowers was their leading receiver with 81 yards. Georgia's just really good, y'all. I mean, obviously, they're a really good team. Jason Horn, Ty Fly. Didn't go in for 2, put them up 3 scores instead of 2. So I get no, they were up 4. It was, hang on, I'll look at the game cast. Dude, they wanted to put 50 on the board. Like, that's all there is to it. It was 42. It was 42 to 23. They scored to make it 48 to 23. So they were up by 25. They were already up 3 scores. I mean, bro, come on. They wanted to put 50 on the board. Period. That's all that was. There is no other explanation. There's no explanation needed. There's no conversation to be had. They wanted to put up 50. Period. That's it. Barry LeBove, what's going on? Craig Jackson, why not? Whoops. There we go. Want to get Howard in for a series at the end once Carter was out. I mean, you roll with Nussmeyer at that point. I get it. Louis Bergeron on defense looked tired, especially the D-line. Craig Straub, I think if Nuss would have played from the beginning, game maybe would have been different. You said he didn't look 100% from snap one. I mean, the second drive LSU had, he drove him right down the field, got to the 5-yard line, and then came back and scored in 3 plays on the touchdown pass to Kayshawn. So it ain't like the offense was dead in the water. Who knows? Who knows? And there is something also to be said for coming in a game when you're down 35 to 10. You come in the game, you're down 25 points. You can play loose and free and let it rip. And Garrett did. He looked great yesterday. Let's see. Cade Galt, Georgia running a version of Philly special will be remembered, especially on the 2-point play. Yeah, so Tomachita said that. Said, had Nuss played from the beginning, the score would have been worse. He came in with nothing to lose attitude. Look, you can't say definitively that the score would have been worse. Maybe he comes in and plays the game of his life, and we've seen that happen in SC championship games before. Who knows? We also saw him play with a big lead against Southern and look terrible. So balance, consistency, that's part of his growth for sure. Let's see, Sean Gasser, Kelly going for 2 puts us down 17 rather than 18. That makes sense. Kirby going up 20 rather than 19 doesn't make much sense. They were up. It was 42 to 23. They scored to make it 48 to 23, and that's when they went for 2. So they were up 25, and that put them up 27. It made no difference. Tulane is the Big 12 champs. You know what's interesting? We're talking about this. So we're flying home today, me, Hanny, and Hester, and we were talking about this. Is it weird that, and maybe it's just that LSU hadn't played Tulane in a while, so it doesn't matter as much, but like, I know as a kid, I never cheered for Tulane. Like, and maybe it's just my family's from New Orleans, we're LSU fans, so, I mean, it was around the bowl and down the hole, roll, wave, roll. I mean, we hated Tulane. I mean, I've never cheered for Tulane in anything, ever. So, but it's kind of odd. It feels like there's maybe it's just because LSU and Tulane haven't played consistently in such a long time, and they're really not on the same level, and it doesn't really matter, and you can kind of pull for the in-state school. I don't know. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts. I'm really curious. Like if LSU fans have kind of cooled on Tulane. Eric Cantrell, what's good, man? Bubba Smith, Charles Morrison. Let's see. Jeremy Sagely. My heart is hurt a little this morning, but it's all part of growing pains. Yeah, man. See, so Barry, I'm glad you brought that up. So Barry, on the block, he brought up Leon Lett in the snow. And I was going to bring that up, but that's a 30-year-old reference, and I don't know that everybody would get it. But yes, exactly. Like Leon Lett running after that football after the block, when he slid and kicked the ball around, he effectively acted as a muff, so the Dolphins were able to recover it. Like, that's exactly why if you're Georgia, you get away from it. Because if it hits you, it's almost like a punt. Think of it like a punt. Like, if you touch it, it's a live ball. So, but as soon as the defense touches it, it's down. Think of it exactly like a punt. So, man, that is just stunning to me. Stunning to me. Ugh. Anyway. I'm watching that just going, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I'm looking back going, is there a whistle? Please tell me somebody touched that. That's not going to stand. It can't possibly stand. Look at everybody just standing around. There's no way. Morgan Miller, what's up, dude? Morning, Matt. Rough game, but I totally agree. Brian Kelly did a lot with a little this season. Tons of potential with this team after we got good special teams coach, solid recruiting. P.S. Coworkers freaking out over K-State win, LOL. So that's my brother-in-law. He and my sister and their kiddos live in Kansas. So, Kansas City, Kansas. So naturally, I was curious if y'all be around more K-State or more Jayhawk fans, but either way. Robbie Wellborn, what do you think about Sid Edwards leaving Central? Legend, man. Sid was the freshman coach, the freshman head coach at Catholic when my brother was there in the 8th grade. And then my freshman year at Catholic was Sid's first year not coaching Catholic freshman team. Total legend, man. Find anybody that ever played for him, and they'll tell you. Never had a better coach, better man, better mentor, better teacher. Boy, he has been a lot of places, but he is, much respect for Sid. I don't know why he made the decision to step away. Just different challenge, something new. If he's retiring, I really have no idea. But massive amounts of respect for Sid Edwards. Josh Neal. Paul Batts, what's going on? Jason Horn. Nuss looked good in a small sample size. His first throw was almost picked. He came. Okay, so in the second quarter when he came in, he threw that ball over the middle into double coverage, and it was low. Receiver had a shot. Yes, it was a dangerous throw. That was also a tough spot coming in cold in that moment. But I put on Twitter last night, I made it, man. One thing about Nuss is undeniable. Dude ain't scared. He is fearless. And so the challenge is, how do you balance that fearless mentality to where it borderlines on reckless, right? That's if I could narrow down Garrett, that's what I would say. Like the skill set, the moxie, all that's there. That's undeniable. How do you purge the carelessness out of him? If you could do that, now you got something. Chris Domingue, Daniels was carving them up before leaving the game. I mean, look, after 2 possessions, the total yardage was 160-6. And it was a tie ball game because of the blocked field goal. So, yeah, they were moving it. Earl Lytle. Um, let's see. Todd Marr, what's up? Robbie, was Josh Williams 100%? Josh Williams looked good in a small sample size. John Emery got the start, so my guess is they knew Williams was probably a little bit on a pitch count, but 6 carries, 55 yards. He had the long run in the second half where he couldn't quite outrun the defense. I don't know if that was because of the knee or just because really fast defenders caught him, but he looked good. Obviously as good as he has since he got injured. All right, smash that like button if you would. 297 watching. We appreciate you. Only 68 likes. If you would take a quick second, smash the like button. Brought to you by Brock, the Baton Orthopedic Clinic, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. You need an orthopedist, go to Brock. Roof, holler at HUDCO. You got pain, Restored Motions. I'm going to try to go a little bit quicker here so I can get to a lot of your comments. ATX, sounds like legit targets tomorrow are Renfro, Etienne, Harris, Matthews, all huge adds to areas of need. Running back will be interesting because you're bringing into Williams has another year, Emery has another year, Kane has another year, and you get Amani Goodwin back off injury. So you're a little crowded there. But if you can add a game changer, you do it. Connor O'Neill, other than losing, worst thing about the game was all the Nuss Bus apologists coming out of the woodwork. I want Nuss to do well. Jaden was clearly a better option this year. Connor, I think that is inarguable. If you want to have the conversation about who has the higher ceiling, who might be a better pro, a lot of different variables, sure, we can have that conversation. But on this team this year, your best chance to win games this year was Jaden Daniels. That's why you ended up 9-3 and you won the West. Like, you beat Alabama because of Jaden. He was your leading rusher. In the beginning of the season, out of necessity, because your offensive line was atrocious. And then he became an even more versatile weapon when they were calling design runs because you could block things. So, look, Connor, I think I guess what I would like to see is more. It doesn't have to be a Jaden or Nuss pick a side thing. Like, you can certainly understand and appreciate what Jaden Daniels has been this year and still think Garrett Nussmeier has a great future and potential in this program, which we may even see next year, or maybe not. But both of those things can be true. It doesn't have to be that someone's success came at someone else's expense. You should just cheer for your team. Bruce Shales, what's up? Chihuahua 1, thank you for all you do. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Leon Williams, could LSU lobby to go to the Texas Bowl? Nope. LSU is going to go to the Citrus Bowl. Apollo Balboa, CHS lost, USA lost, LSU lost, Saints. I don't think it's going to go the Saints' way tomorrow in Tampa, but we'll see. Josh Gravel, how did you get home so fast? We got up this morning in Atlanta at 5 a.m. local time, so 4 a.m. Central. Got to the airport. We're on a flight at 7:25 Eastern, 6:25 Central. So we landed in New Orleans at 8 a.m. local time. Robert Williams, have Purdue and LSU played in football? Yes, they have played in football before, as a matter of fact. No, they haven't played in football. My apologies. LSU and Purdue have never played in football. You know what I was thinking of? There was a bowl game in the 80s. I think it was against Wake Forest that I was thinking of. Yep. 1979. LSU 34-10. That's what I was thinking of. Okay. Chase DeAndre, what's up? Hunter Fournette, does Brian Kelly unload on the league office after his first year, seeing how grossly incompetent SC refs are? Jared Gillard, bring in Drew. Hey, Drew! Drew, come see. Drew, come say hi to Dad's show. He's watching his iPad. Hey, Drew, you want to come say hi to Dad's show? Here he comes. Come see. Come see. Oh, you are leaking all over the place. Oh, my goodness. You want to come say hi to Dad's show? Come see. Come see. Oh, my goodness. Get my hands on you. What do you see?
Drew.
You see Drew?
Hey.
What do you say?
Hi.
Oh, you put your arm around me? I love you.
Hi, Dad.
I love you. Hi, Dad show. What's today?
Sunday.
And after Sunday is?
Monday. Monday.
Monday you go to New St. Lillian. Good job.
And then
in 2 Mondays,
C-Man.
go see Man Brummett. Hey.
That's what that's before.
And after he listens to your heart, hey, so LSU played football yesterday, and the Saints normally play on Sunday, but they don't play today, so we don't have a song to sing. Do you want to say, hey, what do we say when the Saints are playing?
Here's that.
Hey, what do we say when the Saints are playing?
Who is that?
Who that? Okay. All right. Love you. See you later. All right. All right. Cliff Satoon, what's up? Did Coach Kelly leave Brian Pauline in Atlanta? Yeah, so Dana Boyd, I'll tell you this, and that may sound, listen, so Dana said, we outscored Georgia 20-15 in the second half. Our defense and offense played with renewed spirit when Nussmeier came in the game. Kid brought excitement to the team. I thought in the second half, after LSU got clobbered in the second quarter. I mean, that was a 21-point haymaker that Georgia threw. And put the game out of reach. LSU caught their breath, came out, and basically played the second half anew. And I do think there is merit in win. And I wanted to tweet that, like, hey, look, you're not going to win this game, but go win the second half. Like, show growth, development, progress. Go toe-to-toe with this team and win the second half. But I knew Twitter would have taken that and been like, get out of here with your moral victories and blah, blah. And you're not wrong. But I also, because I'm not into moral victories, and I think if you're LSU, you should never lower your expectation. I will, but I do think getting that experience is beneficial, hopefully. Michael Blanco, LSU sports fanatic, Joseph Fallsgraf, Von Bluesman, hey Drew, is that a bear on your pajamas? That it is a bear on his pajamas. The little butt part says bear trap. Drew is the goat. Thank you, Murder Draft. Appreciate it. Brambo, I don't think Daniels would start over Nuss next year if Nuss's maturity and ball security improves. Listen, I would say this, Brambo. I think you would absolutely have an open competition. I don't think anything should ever be a given in that respect. Like, of course, you compete always. Like, nothing should be a given at this level. See, Joseph said the Nuss bus talk went away because Jaden had a nice run for about 6-ish weeks. So, like, half the season. And by the way, the reason you were winning at the beginning of the season is because he was your only offense. Anyway. Von Bluesman, maybe Scott Woodward should have hired you and saved $9.5 million a year. Hired me? I'd have done it for $1 million. I'd have done that. Chance Babin, Polian shoe, blah, blah, blah. TCU's OC is apparently A&M's possible new OC. Any thoughts? Is that confirmed? I know they were also looking at Jeff Grimes. And my thoughts on it are this. I don't care who they hire. Who asked that question? DNL, PRL, whatever. I don't care who they hire. It doesn't matter who they hire if Jimbo doesn't give them autonomy to run their offense. So unless and until Jimbo shows a willingness to relinquish control, bring in an offensive coordinator that will modernize his offense, then no, I don't care who they hire. I was hearing yesterday, they were talking about Jeff Grimes over at Baylor. All right. Georgia's defense was somewhat exposed yesterday. Edwardo, look, it's the thing we talked about all week. And look, I'm not a savvy football X and O guy, but the thing we talked about all week was if you want to attack Georgia, you attack them vertically with receivers. And that's what LSU did. I mean, it's, they put up 30 points and threw for 500 yards. And yeah, you're one-dimensional, but that's the way to do it. Their defensive line is too good. You're not going to consistently put together a running game. So you have to be precise in the way you move the ball through the air and take advantage of matchups. And look, LSU's got really good receivers. One thing we need to do is get an update on Brian Thomas. Late in the game, the pass into the end zone went down hard on his elbow, shoulder. It looked like they were looking at his shoulder. So, anyway. John Dew said, good morning, Matt. I have a lot to look forward to next year. I think we have a good shot to make the playoffs. Look, I mean, John, you are arguably a game away from it this year. So, yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, that should be the expectation going into next year. See how much work they do, to make over this roster and improve it. Cody Brunet, do you think Caleb Williams still wins the Heisman? Yes. Bailey C, I feel like this team isn't the same team that beat Bama. What draft eligible players you believe will sit out the bowl game? I would assume Kayshawn and BJ would likely sit out. They're going to be your highest drafted guys, right? I think there's a big question of what underclassmen leave. And I think we might have talked about this a little bit on maybe we talked about this a little bit on AFR on Friday. Anyway, the sort of challenge there is, your junior class this year would have been guys like Eli Ricks, Eric Gilbert, Dwight McGlothern, Max Johnson. A lot of those guys have already left. So, among your junior class, you're looking at Ojulari and Kayshawn. I don't know that there's... Jaquelin Roy is a big one that you got to see if he comes back. We talked about him a little bit, but, most of the guys and that... I mean, let's look at the 2020 signing class, for example. So that's the guys... Eric Gilbert gone, Eli Ricks gone, Booty still here, Roy still here, Philip Webb gone, Jordan Tolles gone, Ojulari still here, Guillory still here, Antoine Sampa gone, Marcus Dumerville hasn't played, he's probably going to transfer, Trey Bradford gone, Josh White gone, Max Johnson gone, Eric Taylor gone, McGlothern gone, Coy Moore gone, Marlon Martinez hasn't played, Alex Adams gone, Cole Taylor still here, Ollie Gay, but isn't a junior. He was a JUCO transfer then. Xavier Hill hasn't played. Finley gone. And then the transfers you took that year were Darren Evans, Liam Shanahan, and Jabril Cox. So you see my point? Like, that whole 2020 class is gone. So you're not really looking at too many underclassmen leaving, aside from Booty, Ojulari, maybe Roy. See, Von Bluesman. So you said, thank you, Coach Kelly's been trying so hard to get in touch with you to run the program. Like, brother, you're watching my show on a Sunday morning. Like, we're all entitled to have opinions here, man. If you don't like it, that's cool. Leave, bro. I mean, you're watching me. Bro, just go have a Sunday if you don't like it. I don't know what to tell you. I don't even know what I said that made you mad. Craig Dugas, we can all agree Brian Kelly era was the right medicine to help us get over the Edo era. Upward trajectory from here, ball as we ride. Yeah, man. They have an adult in the room. They have a very positive direction looking forward. There's a lot of reasons to be optimistic. Yes, I agree completely. Let's see. Joey Metke, Matt, I didn't get to watch the game because of work. I think I heard LSU had more yards than Georgia. They did. If that was true, why was the score that blown out? Joey, you can go watch the highlights or the lowlights, but on the second possession of the game, LSU was driving. They get down to Georgia's 5. They stall. They line up to attempt a field goal. It gets blocked. No LSU player goes and downs the ball. Georgia picks it up, runs it back 95 yards for a touchdown. So they got a special team score. They got another scoring drive after that, and then LSU threw an interception that literally, there was a pass breakup, and the ball didn't hit the ground. It landed on Jack Besh's helmet and bounced up. Georgia intercepted and scored the next play. So, and then in the second quarter, they kind of steamrolled a little bit. Second half, LSU played them, blow for blow, really. But they just dug themselves too deep of a hole. Paul Frugier, what's up? Zach Swan, Matt, do you think Walker has a chance to start next year? Or is it between Jaden and Nuss? Zach, that's impossible to say. Like, number one, I don't know if Jaden Daniels is coming back. If Jaden Daniels does come back, does Nussmeier transfer? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that because we don't know how the roster is going to shake out. So, but look, the transfer portal opens on the 5th. So that's tomorrow, right? Yeah. So tomorrow the transfer portal opens. You'll officially get these guys into the portal. And also with bowl announcements coming today, you'll start to learn who's going to play in the bowl, who's declaring for the draft, who's opting out. Like, you're going to start to get those decisions in the next week or so. So it'll crystallize what you have coming back, who's leaving, what positions of need, and quarterback's one of them for LSU for sure. Michael Blanco and Nuss could have upped his stock in the portal for sure. Or at LSU. Wait, is the Garrett Riley thing confirmed? I looked it up. I didn't see it. Yeah, I don't know. That's not confirmed anywhere. There we go. All right. Brian Penn, good morning. Any morning more. Appreciate y'all being here. As always, 3:39 watching live. Thank you so much. Please smash that like button. Remember, shout out to Brock. Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, brortho.com. After hours clinic is open nights, holidays, weekends. Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Hudco's pinned there in the chat. If you need a roof, would love to give you a free, no obligation roofing inspection. And Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. If you have pain, book a session with my girl, Crystal Poche. I am absolutely going to see her this week. Sleeping in that awful hotel bed was not exactly what my back needed for 3 nights. So, Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. Ahmad Bay, good morning. Buford Morris. Kirby's first year at Georgia went 8-5. He inherited a program in much better condition than Kelly did. It takes time. Yeah, I would call the season a disappointing success. That's an oxymoron. The ball actually bounced Georgia's way. It did. It was pathetic seeing Nick Saban politics his way into the playoff. I don't blame him. I mean, what do you expect him to do? Not lobby for his team? I mean, you put in all the work, all the offseason. Your kids play hard. They lost 2 hard-fought games, man. on the road at Tennessee on a walk-off field goal, and on the road at LSU on a 2-point conversion in overtime. Like, they're a good team. Their resume doesn't stack up, and they're not getting in. A lot of y'all have sweated that. I told y'all for 2 weeks now they're not getting in. Like, Bama's not getting in the playoff. Actually, since they lost to LSU. Like, they're not getting in the playoff. So, I don't blame Nick for if I'm a player on that team, I want my coach has an opportunity to go on TV and lobby for us. I want him to do that. So I don't fault him for doing that. I think any coach given the option or opportunity would have done the same thing. It's not going to work, but what it is. Thomas Rohr, I've always wondered what is there to hate about Tulane. Well, like LSU and Tulane used to play every year, and Tulane was an original member of the Southeastern Conference. So 100 years ago, they were in the same conference. Tulane and Georgia Tech made maybe the dumbest decisions in the history of intercollegiate athletics in voluntarily leaving the Southeastern Conference, which obviously in time has proven to be very stupid on both of their behalves. But, LSU and Tulane haven't played consistently since the 80s. So, Joseph Allsgraf, I haven't been super enthusiastic about Denbrock this year. Man, I could not disagree more. Like, LSU, this team had a lot of problems. Mike Denbrock was not one of them. You just put up 500 yards of offense against the best defense in college football and scored more points on them than anybody else in the country did. You had a totally remade offensive line. You had a former walk-on as your best running back. You had a transfer quarterback. My goodness, a true freshman playing tight end, learning the position. My goodness, like, for them to have done what they did, you got to keep some stuff into perspective here, man. I can't get down with that. I can't get down. Listen, if you want to criticize individual play calls, we can have that conversation. Like, I hated the short yardage runs right at Georgia out of the shotgun. I get it. I hated those calls against that defense. But Josh Williams has been really good in that role all year. But against that defense, I get it. You can criticize a play call. But as a whole, man, I got a real problem if you're trying to, like, if you're finding fault with the job Denbrock did this year. All right, same for life. Carter Harris. Hope we get K-State in the bowl game. We won't. K-State's going to the Sugar Bowl to play Alabama. Von Bluesman. Let's see. John Earl. John Earl said refs are lenient with targeting calls. I haven't noticed that. If you give examples, maybe. Jalen Carter is dominant as he looked on TV. Yeah, man, it's the reason he might be the first overall pick. But I will say this, man. One of the most embarrassing things for LSU in that game was when Jalen Carter picked up Jaden Daniels. Like, lifted him off the ground, held his like number one in the air, and Charles Turner and Garrett Dellinger were standing right there. The fact that Jalen Carter, and I don't care that he's a giant human and going to be a first-round pick and all stuff, he needs to get ear-holed right there. Like, that's your quarterback, bro. Like, he is picking up your quarterback like he's a child and, like, just holding him and putting a number one in the air. Screw that guy. I don't care who you are, where you're going to be drafted, how good of a player you are, what awards you're going to win. They don't fly. And I get it, he's big. So is Anthony Bradford. Like, come on, man. That's the fact that nobody took issue with that was insult to injury in that moment. That did not sit well with me at all. Marcel Joseph, Hanny praised your travel agent skills. So we were originally scheduled to fly home today, leaving Atlanta at 2 Eastern, going to Charlotte, and then to New Orleans, landing sometime around 6 o'clock local time here. Needless to say, none of us were too thrilled about those arrangements, so I went to work and found us a direct flight that has us home already, basically. So, yes. What can I say? I get things done. Enneagram 8. I'm a doer. I get things done. All right, let's see. Garrett Woods, what's up? Daniel Sinets, good morning. Trey Crum, good morning. Heard anything about Pete Golding following Prime to Colorado? I have not heard that. Hey, Dad, good morning. By the way, really weird that Trevor Falcon, what's up, man? Ray Greer. Really weird that that Dion would take that job. Not weird that he would leave Jackson State. I get it. Like, for what he's done there for 3 years, been incredible. It's still a SWAC school with low budget and low facilities and profile and all that sort of stuff. Deion Sanders, the 3 years he's done that he did at Jackson State, has done more for the SWAC than anything the SWAC has done in 40 years. I mean, and that's more of a compliment to Deion with the amount of publicity, notoriety, awareness that he has given that league in 3 years' time. It's incredible. I'm surprised he would take Colorado. That's just not a great job. Anyway, I guess Prime ain't swag. Not no more. Okay. Vaughn said, morning, Matt. None of my comments were to you. They were to Hunter Fournette. Okay, Vaughn. I was about to say, dude. I was like, bro, what are you talking about, man? I mean, all right. Hey, Vaughn, next time, like, at Hunter Fournette in the comment if you want to talk to him. I was like, bro, what are you talking about, man? That's why I was so, like, I was miffed. I was discombobulated. Yeah, by the way, Carly Cat, as far as Deion going to Colorado, Deion got Travis Hunter to Jackson State. He will get players to Colorado. I don't know if he can get enough players 1 to 85 consistently to Colorado to win there. Let's see. LSU lost by 20. Nothing to be happy about. Georgia was letting off the gas after they got 40. Let's be honest. LSU isn't in the same conversation with the Bulldogs. Stop being a homer. So, Saint for life. Nobody has ever or will ever accuse me justly of being a homer. Okay? I'm the guy that often gets accused of being the opposite of that. Okay? Of course Georgia is better. That's why they haven't lost but one game in 2 years. That's why they're the number one team in the country. Nobody's debating that. Kirby has built a juggernaut. Georgia is the standard now. Okay, nobody's debating that. In that game yesterday, even in the first half, before the game was out of hand, LSU was moving the football. They scored in 3 plays. On the touchdown to Kayshawn, they put together the drive on the block field goal. LSU put together a 14-play, 69-yard drive that ate up 7-19 and ended in a block field goal that was returned for a touchdown by Georgia. So, brother, to sit here and say like, oh, LSU only moved the ball whenever Georgia was letting their foot off the gas is just wrong, dog. I mean, they were moving the ball the whole game. Hey, babe.
Hey.
All right, let's see.
Is it not a known fact that if you miss a field goal, the ball is still alive?
I mean,
Well, why did no one know that? Even the Georgia players were like clapping that they missed it. I don't understand.
Well,
no one knew to go get the ball. Is that like the first rule you learn? That's
Yeah.
Alabama lost to Auburn. Like, what does this?
yeah, the kick six. Good.
Yeah, I don't understand.
My wife, who knows nothing about football, knows this.
But No, I mean, I would. Why don't the players know that?
Because they were coached very poorly.
Okay. But Georgia didn't know it either.
So
Only one of their guys kind of thought, but then that didn't think. And he was
so
just
here's the thing.
no one really knew.
Whenever I'll tell all these hundreds of people watching just to hang on for a second while you and I have a one-on-one
No,
conversation.
it's fine. I just.
No.
I
So
figured you were going to talk about it.
okay. Well, we have a lot.
Okay.
But for those who maybe joined us and missed before, if you are Georgia, think of it like a punt. If I punt the ball and it touches you, it's a live ball, right? Mm-hmm. And I can recover it. Mm-hmm. Same thing on that. So that's why Georgia was saying, like, get away from it, get away from it. Because if you touch it, if you're Georgia and you touch the ball, then LSU can come recover it.
Well, why wouldn't they touch the ball and just take it?
Well, what would have to be like in a punt, when you punt the ball, like if I punt the ball, then my team has to go down the ball, right? Mm-hmm. If we never down the ball, the other team can just pick it up and run.
Right.
Because it's live. Well, LSU never went and downed the ball. After the block, they just ran off the field. So the Georgia guy was standing, like, waiting. When he realized there were no LSU players coming around the ball, he picked it up and ran.
Yeah, he didn't look certain. He looked like, maybe I should do this. Maybe it's one of
Kind
those
of.
things where, like, you know.
Is this live? Is it not live? Yeah, that's true.
Or, like, he was like, well, you know, sometimes they make a big play, even though it's like the flag's already been called. They run all the way down. They're like, they already have flag. Why would you do that? Like, you know, you
Yes,
do that and you're
yes.
like, that's just dumb. So, like, I think it was that. No one really knew. No one was like, oh, this is it. Like, no one. So it just confused me that, like, that wouldn't be like one of the rules you learn when you're like a little kid playing football.
It is one of the rules you learn as a little.
That.
Like every
The helmet bounce was ridiculous.
every single Thursday, I'm talking like high school football. Every single Thursday on our walkthrough before our games on Friday, we ended every single practice with fair catch punt return. And it was those types of situations in the special teams. And one of them, which is a little known rule as well, if you fair catch a ball, you can free kick through the goalpost for a field goal. Did you know that? Like, let's say you're punting out of your end zone. I fair catch it at my own 40. Mm-hmm. I can send my kicker out there, put it on a tee, or on your 40, put it on a tee. If he kicks it through the uprights, it's 3 points. Or he could punt it through the uprights. If you free kick it through the uprights, it's 3 points. It's crazy how, like, some of those things that was mind-boggling. Yeah, Garrett Wood said OBJ returned the field goal for a touchdown against UAB. That's how, I mean, the way the story goes is that's how the kick six happened. Auburn, when they were playing LSU in 13, were looking at LSU game film, saw Odell do that, so they installed that, and that's why they had it in for the kick six against Bama. Christian Mortimer, you can tell how upset Brian Kelly was about losing. Next year will be exciting because I think he's coming for blood. I wonder if Deion's son goes to Colorado. Probably. I'm sure all those kids go to Colorado. Joe Brady, Oregon for the OC position. Is that happening for sure? Wow. Are y'all just guessing, or are these things that are confirmed? Like, I mean, I'm serious. Like, I was at the game last night, left, did post game, went to, got some dinner, went to bed, was up early, flew out. Okay, Bruce Feldman. Oh, Bruce Feldman said he texted Joe Brady and said it's, quote, not happening. Not true, not happening. Okay, so Bruce Feldman, quoting Joe Brady, said it's not happening. So Hunter Fournette, Von Bluesman's coming after you. You're wrong again. David LeBeau, let's see. How's the game plan for Bowers was terrible. Or maybe Bowers is really good. The fact that Bowers only had 6 catches for 80 yards. I mean, I'll tell you, like, the one that was the most disappointing was the flat route on third down when they scored their second touchdown. Like, third and goal, because it looked like LSU was going to hold them a field goal. And I'm not calling him out. Just what it was. Like, Sage Ryan was really out of position. I mean, anyway. All right, any more? In the NFL, if it's a blocked field goal or punt, the ball goes past the line. It's a dead ball. Only kickoff in the NFL is a live ball. Yeah, and it's, you know what's interesting too? It's like all those years I called high school football, the rules are so different, and sometimes I get fans aren't going to know the rule book, league to league to league, but like one of the ones that was most common was the outside the tackle box thing. Like in high school, there was no such thing as throwing the ball away outside the tackle box. Like you have to throw the ball to an intended receiver. If you run outside the tackle box and throw it into the stands, it's intentional grounding. Like you have got to be throwing it at a receiver. There's that. There's like, of course, free kicks that cross the goal line. Like as soon as it crosses the goal line, it's a touchback. Like even on kickoffs, nice. Anyway, yes, there's a lot of rule changes or differences. How much is LSU going to pay Brian Pulley not to coach anymore? I think it's obviously a question everybody has. I'll be curious to see what Brian Kelly does. I don't know how you justify bringing Brian Pulley back as special teams coordinator. I think Brian Kelly wants him on staff, and so I think he'll be on staff in some capacity, even if it's a support role. That's what I would like to see happen. But not only is he your special teams coordinator, he's also your recruiting coordinator. But then again, Frank Wilson could very easily fill that role as he has done before, and you have tons of recruiting staff. So, anyway. David LeBeau, good show, Matt. Thank you very much. Let's see. What is Hunter Fournette asked me if I can. What are you talking about? Oh, because you were wrong about the Joe Brady thing? Well, like, just look at Twitter. What's your problem? And don't do old man jokes either. Ask me if I care. Hint, I don't. Like, are you 100 years... Like, that? My dad would make that joke, man. If you're like 67 years old, I get it. If you're not, then don't make that joke. Come on, man. Hey, you ain't got to be all defensive. Stop being so defensive. Hey. Stop being so defensive. Wow. See, look, even Alex Barnes is telling you to calm down, bro. Calm down. What are you doing? Man. This is a safe space. It's morning scone. This isn't whiskey and wine. It's not nightcap. It's not scone and tea. It's morning scone. We're happy and friendly and G-rated here. Matt's too much of a fun. It's not a fun smoosher. It's a swoosher. It's a fun smoosher. Swoosher. Okay. Yeah, murder giraffe. Wow, dude's in his feels. Weird. Anyway. Yeah, Christian looking like projecting Purdue. Yes, that's talked about that a bunch. Purdue and the Citrus. So I don't mind telling y'all at all. It was down to LSU, South Carolina from the SEC, Purdue, Illinois from the Big Ten for the Citrus, and I think people at the Citrus would very much like South Carolina for obvious reasons. They would be much more excited to be in that game. LSU fans, I don't think, are going to travel to that game, and they also open up next year against Florida State in the same stadium. So, but the league does work hard to protect its teams, and I will tell you this sucks so much. I heard through the grapevine that the Las Vegas Bowl, and you all know my feelings about the Las Vegas Bowl, wanted to take LSU to match up against Oregon State. And I would have loved that. Vegas, play a Pac-12 opponent, NFL stadium, all that stuff. But that game is on December the 18th, which conflicts with the early signing period. And so many teams, LSU included, are adamantly opposed to playing in a game that would take away from the recruiting period. So, anyway. Murder at the Citrus Bowl is in the stadium in Orlando. It's like, at one point it was called Camping World Stadium. I think at one point they called it the Citrus Bowl, but yeah, it's called Camping World Stadium. It's in Orlando. It's the same place where the game's been forever. But after the 2009 fiasco with LSU and Penn State, where the field was a quagmire, they renovated. They did like $60 million of renovations. They put turf down. They upgraded the seating, the amenities, all of it. So it's a much better venue now than it was. But Camping World Stadium is what it's called. Okay, y'all. I think we're about done. We're just about done. Yeah, Garrett Wood said Boulder would be a cool place for kid 18 to 21 years old. Absolutely. Boulder's phenomenal. You're right by Denver, which is a great city. You got Red Rocks Amphitheater in Golden, Colorado is right there, which is, of course, the Coors Brewery. Boulder's a great town. I mean, it's like right at the bottom of that hill. You know, Denver's up on a hill, and right at the bottom of it is where Boulder is. Beautiful campus. Been there, visited. It's a great spot. Like, it's just a hard place to recruit because you don't have a great local talent base. You haven't had a lot of success. Your facilities are not good. I mean, Folsom Field is a dump. So there's just not a lot there that resonates. But Dion is a brand that clearly he has shown. If he can get players to Jackson State, he'll get players to Colorado. So, all right, any more? Harley Doucette was asking about the bowl. He just talked about that. All right, I think we're done. Jeremy Sagely, exactly what I'm on Facebook. People on YouTube get mad. Don't tell that to Trivia Carter. Chewy Gutierrez, did you enjoy not having to ride with T-Bob like in 2019? That was when calmer than you are. Waving a gun around. Calmer than you are. Ty Fly, I very much respect a Big Lebowski reference. So 2019 was when T-Bob and I rode in T-Bob's car. Well, that was after the Peach Bowl, so it was a horrific weekend. That was obviously when we lost Carly. But after the game on Saturday, I can't remember. I'm trying to remember how I got to Atlanta. If I flew there and had a one-way ticket, I don't remember. I think maybe I flew there. Anyway, what I do remember is we woke up on that Sunday at like 4 a.m. And Jordy and T-Bob were doing the morning show at the time, so they were up early. Jordy's up early every day anyway. So we rolled out of the Hyatt, which is the media hotel, at like 4 a.m. And we were in Jordy's driveway at like 10 a.m. I mean, he made it like 6 hours. I mean, dude went 100 the whole way, it didn't stop. And then T-Bob, who lives near me, had parked his car at Jordy's because I had flown. I had to have flown, had a one-way flight to Atlanta. I don't know why I didn't book a round trip, but I have no idea. Why did I not book a round trip flight? I don't remember. Anyway, so that's what happened. Flew there, drove back to Baton Rouge with Jordy and T-Bob. T-Bob had left his car at Jordy's house, so T-Bob drove me home. And that's when he had the messy car. We did the video, and he got all mad at me and everything. Okay. Just about to get out of here. Palumbos on the go. Morning, Matt. My first season following your content. Military moved me to Omaha. You and T-Bob made the season so much more enjoyable and informative. Thanks for what you do for the LSU community. Well, thank you for your service. That's awesome. And you'll be happy to know also that our guy Kirk Taylor, who also watches pretty much every day, is a military man who was in Omaha and is now back home in Louisiana. So maybe you two cross paths at some point. Oh, yeah, playoff is on. Selection's on right now. Okay. All right, we're done. As always, shout out to Brock. By the way, if you're still there and you have not done so yet, please smash the like button on YouTube. Facebook, please like the page, share the post. As always, shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. You need orthopedics, go to Brock. Hudco Roofing. Hudco is tagged in the post, so please click the Hudco link. Fill out the form. We'll give you a free, no obligation roofing inspection. And Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. If you have pain, book a session with Crystal Poche over at Restored Motions. I'm telling you, it'll change your life. Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. All right, y'all have a very wonderful, awesome, blessed Sunday. Appreciate y'all so much. Have a great day. See you. Peace.